I don't know. Michelle might be able to take him. Michelle Obama might be able to take Putin. I don't know. She's pretty. She's got some wide shoulders, dude. That back. I mean, I do entire workouts to try and get it back like she has naturally.
Bo is a skeleton, and Luke has the one in the pink, two in the stink. Or two in the pink, one in the stink, however you want to go about that.
I feel like, what if we started, Whiskey Hell PETA? Like, just call it WETA. Yeah, I'm taking it right in the leather Cheerio here. It's good.
Leather Cheerio needs to be used more.
Soren Kierkegaard said, "There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true. The other is to refuse to believe what is true." George Orwell told us that in a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act, while Aldous Huxley reminded us that facts do not cease to exist because they are ignored. Lastly, Joe Class said, "The truth will set you free. But first, it will piss you off." This is the news show, Whiskey Hell. Think critically. Act accordingly.
Saturday, February 10th, 8:30 on the nose. This is the news with Whiskey Hell. Fitz, how are you doing?
I am excellent. Excellent. Gung Hei Fat Choi to all of you who celebrate the Chinese New Year like I do. This is an auspicious year of the dragon. I hope all of you are ready for it. Years of the dragon tend to be full of change, full of upheaval, full of social unrest. So, welcome to Year of the Dragon, everyone. Let's fuck shit up.
Well, we certainly have upheaval, social unrest.
Yeah,
change.
it's off to a good start. Yeah,
that's it. I think that's how they dialed it up. What do you do for to welcome in the Chinese New Year?
Personally,
Yeah.
you mean? Yeah. Well, I personally line my genitals with firecrackers and set them off.
Ooh, that's nice. All right.
Sure. Yeah, you gotta keep
All
it
right.
keep it real. It's like, how fast can you run, motherfucker?
Well,
no, really,
you actually call your member a dragon, so that makes sense.
yeah, it's the year of my member. Yeah, no, I personally, I don't do much really. I don't do much.
Okay, that's all right. You acknowledge it. I mean, you know about it, and you can can tip your cap to it. That's more than I can say. So that's cool. All right, that's all right.
Yeah, me and all my kung fu brothers, we all wish each other, Happy New Year, and send ridiculous gifts because they're ridiculous. But I will say that one year I was actually in San Francisco with my Sifu and all my kung fu brothers for the Chinese New Year, and man, that's a party. That's a party that starts at like 6 p.m. and it goes until the wee hours of the morning. I mean, it just doesn't stop. Fireworks and tonight I imagine it's going to be even more so because it's a Saturday. So no one has to work tomorrow. So I'm sure there's quite a celebration going on somewhere. And in Hong Kong too, I understand it's a big celebration. So anyway, I don't do much here in Eugene, Oregon. There's not much to do. There's hardly any Chinese community here. So, I do a podcast with my buddies.
All right. Well, I still think that's a really good way to go. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All right. Lots of news this week. Narrative shift again. So we're going to get into that. A lot of this show is going to have a lot of it's going to revolve around Putin and Biden and stuff like that, because that apparently was in the cards this week. So we should probably get to our beers so we can get into this stuff.
Excellent. I like it. Let's just cut through the riffraff and get to the business at hand. So, mystery beer for me to start the show, as usual. I do have, and I know McShane's going to bring this up with his beer, but I do have a beer that was sent to me from our friends at the Grays podcast, Trash Can Tabby and Mike. I can't thank you guys enough. I know when we go to housekeeping, we'll give you guys an official shout out, but sent some great beers this week, and so one of the beers they sent, I'm gonna enjoy in the second half of the show. But this half, we're doing mystery beer. It is so the brewery is Stormbreaker, which again, great brewery. They don't do anything that's bad, at least not that I've had. On top of it, I was very happy to see that it poured jet black, and it's got a healthy head, so I'm guessing it is some sort of stout. Stormbreaker, they don't do anything crazy. Like I don't know, what am I thinking of? I just lost it out of my head. But the guys that do all the crazy shit with the sours and the
Like a Drecker
yeah, like a Drecker. Yeah, they don't
or
get crazy like
Paperback
that.
or many of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, or like one of the guys that one of the breweries that does all the crazy shit with the imperial stouts. They don't get crazy like that. They just are steady, putting out good beers that are drinkable. They're crushable. So anyway, I'm sure it's some kind of stout or a porter. Let's see what we got here.
Stormbreaker Brewing. That's going to be out of Portland.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay. You know, so you're always walking that line, right? With a porter or a stout. I'm gonna lean I'm gonna lean stout,
Okay.
but I'm gonna lean like a hazelnut stout. I'm getting something nutty in there. And maybe even a little.
It's a little
Gosh,
dirty.
that's a real. It is a little dirty, but it's smooth, man. It's like I'm gonna guess it's like a 6%er, so there's like no booze to it at all. At least to my palate, your palate. But it's just a really solid beer. Mm. 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 All right, well let's pull the pin on this biz and see what we got. Because I don't know all their beers well enough to say for sure what I'm drinking.
Looks like their site's a little jacked too. Sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
it's not pulling up anything. No, I was off. I leaned stout, and it is a porter. This one's called Rhythm of the Night. It is their porter. Sometimes when you're outside of your favorite club, it could be the Roxbury Studio 51, or maybe just your local YMCA. You need to dance. So this porter is here to get you up and dancing. Please tell me I was at least right on the ABV. Yeah, okay. All right. I was close. 5.7. So at least I got that right. Very smooth. They use what I like about porters up here, they use the Cascade hops, which tend to kind of calm things down. They're not a real hoppy hop. They're not really super bitter. So Cascadian hops used in this thing, really, really well done beer. I mean, like I said, I was on the fence. I couldn't tell a porter or a stout. Definitely a porter now. Yeah, good stuff. Nice offering from Stormbreaker. What are you drinking?
I was actually, yeah, we'll just go and dive into mine. I was going to ask you, how close is it to a black IPA?
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay, so it's just total malt.
Because it's way more malty. Exactly. It's smoothed out from a Cascadian or a dark IPA. So, yeah, but I keep waiting for one of those. I think it's getting to be that season, dude. I'm gonna have to find myself either a black IPA or a Cascadian dark. Those are just such a springtime beer for me. So, and we're getting there. So, anyway, what do you got?
All right. So, I have Friendsgiving. It's an imperial pastry sour with cranberry, orange, cinnamon, graham cracker, vanilla, and marshmallows. This came to me by way of Gray's Tap Room, so thank you, Mike and Tabby. And I know I wanted to start the night with this one because they sent a few of them, but I wanted this one to be first, so I had a clean palate to assault.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a huge sour guy, and I don't think I've ever had a pastry sour, so this is going to be a little bit of a trip. For the first year, our annual Friendsgiving celebration, we sent the beer Signal. It's kind of like the Bat Signal, but tastier. Up to 3 of our beer besties, thus resulting in a decadent ode to that most American of holidays. Southern Grist, Dissolver, and I'm not sure what the other one was. I need to look. Let's see what the other company was that they.
Oh, the other brewery.
Yeah, there was one other brewery, and I can't read it on there.
Mile Wide.
No. Well, Mile Wide is the main brewer of it, but there was another one, maybe Midway. Not really sure. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and dive into this. No head on it at all. Typical for a sour. Glass-looking top to it. Smells like a gummy bear.
Okay. This one, I was also sent a package. So again, huge shout out to Mike and Tabby. You guys are awesome. This one I was really excited to try. So I'm interested to hear your take on it because I'm excited for it.
Oh, wow. There's a lot going on there. It's bitter cinnamon. Cranberry comes through. A lot of orange. It is definitely a Thanksgiving beer. It has the vanilla is at the end, and it kind of mellows it out a little bit. Oh, that's interesting. It's a mouth-watering one too. So weird. I'm gonna have to see how that one goes. It's candy-like.
Okay.
It's an odd beer. Not odd in a bad way, just very different.
So one of my favorite flavor combinations is the cranberry orange. Are you getting that nice blend that happens in that, or is either one overpowering? Or
I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit. Was that you were asking which of those flavors, if there's one that's overpowering?
No, that's one of my favorite flavor combos is cranberry orange. Is either one of those kind of overpowering the other, or?
The orange comes through more than the cranberry, and it's a off-season orange. So it's like right before it turns ripe. So it has that bitterness to it. It's bitter, very very different. It's very very different. I think they wanted the orange. They wanted the citrus, but they didn't want the citrus to be the focus. So they wanted the sweetness to come in and be the vanilla and the marshmallow. Otherwise, they probably would have had something that's more like a blood orange. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
It does.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll have to see how this one goes. It's very different. I can see why Mike likes it. And the texture is very much like a Jolly Rancher.
Okay.
Interesting. All right. Well, with that, we don't have a lot of, as far as housekeeping goes, we really didn't have any. We do want to give a shout out. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say thanks to Jerry Zero for joining the Patreon. So we'll be looking at, we'll be seeing him, I'm sure, in chat and online. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining the Patreon.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to it. We'll make sure you're part of the drinking game in a few weeks. Tabby has already spoken, and Grays will add you after you've been in chat for a couple weeks. So we'll get you in there.
Yeah, we got to get to know you. We got to get to know what it is that makes you tick. And
exactly.
Yeah. Yep. And also what makes you drink. Because that's why we're all here. Because the world's a fucked up place, and we need to drink more. So. No, I was just going to say earlier, I have a personal point of privilege, the triple P. I was remiss last week. I had a couple of shout outs, and um, one of them I completely missed that I really wanted to get to. So I'm going to get to it this week.
Yeah.
I got a delivery package last week, and it was from one of our dear listeners, Buttercup. And
Oh.
it was, I didn't, she said, hey, there's a, there's a care package coming your way, So I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's going to be a friendly card or a bunch of stickers or some beer, I don't know. Well, it ended up being an amazingly well thought out, very sentimental, really, because it was a dumb little phrase, little thing that I said on the show a few weeks ago about that I'm gonna start knitting, and I'm gonna call it Fitz Knits.
Yeah.
Well, she put Fitz Knits on a shirt, and on the back it says, "It takes a lot of balls to be a hooker," and I just it is the most like sincerely just thoughtful gift. And actually, I will tell you, I mean, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I fucking rock that shirt. It looks so good on me. So there will be pictures in the chat of me in the shirt. But it fits me great. And it's very thoughtful, very sweet. And it commemorates that show because I don't know where that came from, like most of the dumb shit that I say. But it definitely it was just it just was very sweet. So thank you for commemorating that ridiculous moment in Fitz history, and I will rock the hell out of that shirt. So
That's
thank you,
awesome.
Buttercup. Yeah, yep, huge.
So I saw it, and it is absolutely rad. Yeah.
Yeah,
So very, very cool. Very, very cool. We've had in chat tonight, we've got Buttercup, Joe, L, and Aaron are all here. Mike and Tabby might be here a little bit later on from Gray's Tap Room, and I think Beard is actually recording now. So we'll make sure that we'll get their feedback here in a little bit. They went to a show tonight.
yeah, a comedy show.
Yeah, so we'll have to find out how that went. All right.
One thing I want to say, and I think we touched on this a little bit just like a few weeks ago, but isn't it remarkable? It's a remarkable thing about the age that we're living in right now that we can literally say we have friends all around the country, and it's not like we talk by phone once a month like they used to back in the old days. We literally have an ongoing conversation with people from all over the United States, and
Oh,
even
yeah.
a few from across the pond in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so nice. I mean, we all are witnessing the same events in history because, I mean, like it or not, we are living in historic times,
Oh,
and
totally.
and we get to have our own opinions about it. We get to have a conversation about it. We get to really, take it apart from many points of view. And that's just remarkable. And then on top of it, we get these great gifts, or, we have the beer exchange going. So they get some beers that I would have, that they would have never seen because they're from my local breweries and vice
Right.
versa. And that's pretty remarkable that we get to do this. And so I guess my point is thank you, everybody who's part of our Patreon, everybody who's part of that conversation. You make the show better, you make us better, and also it's just nice to know that there's some fellow souls out there that actually give a shit about what's happening. And so thanks for being a part of the show, everybody.
And with that, I do want to call attention to. We've talked about Semi Skeptic on here. Obviously, those guys are over in the
Yeah.
UK, but Sage Skeptic and Storyteller, and it's at SSS the podcast. They're out of Japan, and we in fact they were hoping they reached out to us this week, and we're hoping that we're going to touch on the Tucker interview, which we're going to get to here in a few
Yeah.
minutes. But we've got them. We've got Canadian Conservative up in Canada. Yeah, it's just cool that we can, the world gets a lot, it turns into neighbors, versus,
Yeah.
distant, distant folks you just kind of know. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah. Totally.
All right. So the Tucker Carlson interview happened with Putin this week. And yeah, I know, Aaron. Could you believe it? Not that it's been everywhere, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, the Tucker Carlson Putin interview happened earlier in the week. I think it was on the 6th, and then it was released Thursday, and then on X on Friday. Interesting interview. I don't think it went the way Tucker wanted it to go. That was
It definitely did not.
evident.
I agreed. Yeah.
It was very, very. I think it was probably how you would have expected if Putin was going to hijack it. That's how he was going to hijack it. It was interesting though. I watched it a couple times. The second time was really boring. The first time though, I thought it was a fantastic interview as far as just very different, and it was just nice to hear from somebody other than the typical talking heads.
Yeah, I agree. I think my takeaway from it, because I finally got to it today. My takeaway from it was, I think you're right. Tucker came in wanting to, first of all, kudos to Tucker for even getting the interview, for making it happen. But with that comes permission from the interviewee, right? Which means that Putin had a message to deliver,
Right.
right? He wouldn't have agreed to this if he didn't have something to say that he wanted us to hear. Now, a lot of that might have been scripted. He might have had a point behind some of it. I mean, he was pretty pointedly, pointing the finger at the U.S. I mean, when Tucker asked him about Nord Stream, like, who blew it up? He's like, he laughed. He's like, you, of course. Um, so I mean, there were those obvious things, but I think in a very subtle way. And when you talk about Putin hijacking it, in a very subtle way, Putin was like, no, I'm going to stay on message here. I'm going to stay
Right.
on point, and you're going to let me finish. You can ask questions, and you could just kind of tell that, Putin, on the questions he didn't want to answer, they
He
were
wasn't going
these
to
like,
answer it.
right. They were these very broad, like, 60,000 foot, answers to questions, no details at all. And then on the shit that he wanted to get into the minutia, you were down on the ground level, and he was like, here's how it is from my point of view. So I think on the one hand, kudos to Tucker for going in there and having the balls to do it, because say what you want about Tucker, he went to Russia, he went into the Kremlin, he
Yep.
interviewed the president of, quote unquote, our enemy. I mean, the hate that he got for going over there from Americans is unbelievable. On top of it, it looks like he did a double dip and he interviewed Edward Snowden as well. So
Yeah.
that interview will be dropping soon. So he went and interviewed two people that are the most hated people here in as far as United States intelligence goes, and he did it. So kudos to him, first of all, but second of all, I think he kind of went in a little, I feel like he went in a little bit meek, a little bit naive. He asked some kind of naive questions, and or they were just softballs for Putin
Right.
that I thought just weren't challenging enough. And again, I'm sitting here in my comfortable seat in Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah.
So, I'm armchair quarterbacking this thing, but
Oh, and you're not
but
sitting
I
across
think
from a KGB killer either.
right, right. I mean, and so my other takeaway, the last takeaway I will say, Putin was so well spoken.
Yeah.
I mean, what is he, 76? I mean, he's not young. Um, and the contrast between how well spoken Putin was, knowing the history, knowing the people, knowing the players, knowing the politics, knowing the economy, knowing the shit a president is supposed to know. And then you have our fucking Sleepy Joe, who can't even get the fucking countries right when he's talking about a major world event like, oh, I don't know, the war going on in Israel. Um, it was just such a stark contrast. I mean, whether or not you believe what Putin said, you have to say he said it really fucking well. And we can't say that about our president. It's really sad. Or our vice president, for that matter. She had a whole mouthful of fucking teeth today again, saying I don't even know what she's blabbering about. Second Amendment, idiot. Anyway, those were my takeaways. We thought about doing a deep dive on it. I don't know that it warrants that. I just, if Putin had really gotten in the weeds with stuff, I think we could have done it, but he wouldn't, as a politician shouldn't, right? I mean, So yeah, I think just discussing it here is going to be good enough. But what were your takeaways? I mean, what did you think about the whole thing overall? I mean, like you said, it wasn't all that exciting. It was kind of boring, especially if you watched it twice. But what were your takeaways?
So, one, like Aaron was saying in chat, we're not used to seeing an actual figurehead or a head of state who's actually lucid speaking. It doesn't happen that often. So that was kind of fun, but it was also very apparent that there was going to be propaganda. There was going to be his own rhetoric, and he wasn't going to budge on that. Right out of the gate, I found it interesting that Tucker got put off a little bit when Putin went ahead and he started telling the historic reason for the war between NATO, Europe. I mean, he went back to like the 600s.
800,
was it
850 something? Yeah.
It was like 850, and then he carried it all the way through 1654, and then he goes to present day, and he's explaining what Ukraine. And he starts off saying, give me just a moment or give me 30 seconds to kind of get into this.
Yeah.
And it turns into a half an hour. And at one point, Tucker's like, I don't know how this is relevant. And then Putin basically says, shut the fuck up. I'm getting there. But it was one of those crazy Russian schoolmaster moments where he was not going to give up the floor.
Agreed.
So that you definitely knew who the alpha was in the room. There was absolutely no doubt about it. I thought the historic need there was a very important thing, and I understand why he did it, because you could totally fall into that justification for the war if you're on his side. That was an appeal for American eyes and ears and hearts and minds. It absolutely was. And we're already over 150, 160 million views. So it was tactful. It was strategic in how he did it. And I thought that was incredibly interesting. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, I'm not in love with Putin or anything like that. No love there. But from a strategy standpoint, I thought it was very interesting. It was very clear to me that he and China's Xi are on the same page. They're in bed together. There is absolutely no doubt about it. He's not afraid to call out the U.S. for its role in anything. He is short of saying that Russia has anything to do with propaganda. I thought that was funny. But he wasn't afraid to say that the U.S. and the West is nonstop propaganda, which it is.
Yeah.
So
I think his point more was, look, nobody beats the United States as far as propaganda, and I think he's right. I mean, he stopped short of saying we don't do it, but he. Yeah,
he wasn't going to say that he wasn't going to say they do it, but for years they've been masters of it as well. So that was interesting as well to me. Let me go ahead and play. Let me play this audio. This is why not call Biden and stop the war.
Definitely interested, but from the outside, it seems like this could devolve or evolve into something that brings the entire world into conflict and could initiate a nuclear launch. And so why don't you just call Biden and say, let's work this out?
What's there to work out? It's very simple. I repeat, we have contacts through various agencies. I will tell you what we are saying on this matter and what we are conveying to the US leadership. If you really want to stop fighting, you need to stop supplying weapons. It will be over within a few weeks. That's it. And then we can agree on some terms. Before you do that, stop. What's easier? Why would I call him? What should I talk to him about? Or beg him for what?
And what messages do you get back?
You're going to deliver such and such weapons to Ukraine? Oh, I'm afraid, please don't. What is there to talk about?
Do you think NATO is worried about this becoming a global war or a nuclear conflict?
At least that's what they're talking about. And they're trying to intimidate their own population with an imaginary Russian threat. This is an obvious fact. And thinking people, not Philistines, but thinking people, analysts, those who are engaged in real politics, just smart people, understand perfectly well that this is a fake. They're trying to fuel the Russian threat.
The threat I think you're referring to is a Russian invasion of Poland, Latvia, expansionist behavior. Can you imagine a scenario where you sent Russian troops to Poland?
Only in one case, if Poland attacks Russia. Why? Because we have no interest in Poland, Latvia, or anywhere else. Why would we do that? We simply don't have any interest. It's just threat-mongering.
Well, the argument, I know you know this, is that, well, he invaded Ukraine, he has territorial aims across the continent, and you're saying unequivocally you don't.
It is absolutely out of the question. You just don't have to be any kind of analyst. It goes against common sense to get involved in some kind of a global war. And a global war will bring all humanity to the brink of destruction. It's obvious. There are certainly means of deterrence. They have been scaring everyone with us all along. Tomorrow Russia will use tactical nuclear weapons. Tomorrow Russia will use that. No, the day after tomorrow. So what? In order to extort additional money from US taxpayers and European taxpayers in the confrontation with Russia in the Ukrainian theater of war. The goal is to weaken Russia as much as possible.
I can't argue with that. And we've been saying that forever, that this is all about money laundering. It's all about suckering in tax dollars and being able to funnel it into Ukraine so that can get processed. And we are starting to see the cracks where, I think, what was it, last week, $40 million. So they started cracking down on some few guys who lost $40 million in aid that was supposedly laundered.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense. It does.
Yeah. No, it does. And I also thought in some ways, and maybe I'm adding a layer here that isn't there, but I'm gonna just say it how I'm kind of feeling it. I feel like Putin was a little bit of a class act here, in the sense that when he talked about, the fact that it's trying to get more money out of the American taxpayer, he totally glossed over the fact that, the Bidens are hugely financially tied to Ukraine. They have made millions and millions and millions of dollars from the shit that went down there during that, quote unquote revolution, when the new president was installed. And he skipped over all that. Now you could argue, well, maybe he doesn't know about it or he doesn't believe about it, but we have proof that Biden was on camera saying that, this is what we're going to do. And what do you know? They put in a new prime minister, or a new DA or whatever it was. So we know that was happening, and we know how closely tied the Bidens are financially to Ukraine. And he skipped right over all that. And I have to believe he knows about it, and he just didn't want to go there. There's no reason to drag our president through the mud. The fact is, we're dumping billions of dollars into Ukraine. And he's like, if you just stop doing that, the war would be over in 2 weeks. It's done. But you won't stop it. And so here we are.
So while this is all going on, we have Newsweek coming out. As soon as it was heard that Tucker was going to be over in Russia, Newsweek comes out and says, well, should we go ahead and add sanctions? Should he be tried for espionage? That was a twist that I didn't see coming. Now, this is how we're going to treat journalists. Now, it's unfortunate that Putin doesn't want to sit down with the left, CNN, MSNBC, NBC. I'm a little surprised that Tucker was able to get back into the country. I don't know. Have we had a proof of life yet?
Oh, no,
So
that's true.
I'm still a little concerned about that. But the knee-jerk reaction that Newsweek takes, which was supposed to be, I mean, left-leaning, but you would think that they still have some kind of journalism dedication to it. But this was just a knee-jerk, very much a American-controlled message, without a doubt. I mean, that was there to make sure that he knew that, you be careful what you're doing. Hillary comes out right after the spin machine, and she comes out and she's talking about how Hunter, excuse me, about how Tucker is obviously owned by Russia. He's just a propagandist. That's the only reason he was allowed to go over there. And the timing of her coming out was interesting, because at the same time that she comes out and starts saying that, Biden kind of, the tide started turning on Biden because of all the shenanigans that he came up with this week.
Yeah. 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 Biden, well, that dossier dropped. And then on top of it, I don't understand. Okay, so the guy has handlers, right? We know he has handlers. He has to have handlers. Why would you prop him up like that and let him literally hang himself? If not to continue the narrative that he's going to have to step down, or he's not going to be able to run next year because of dementia, because of old age. I mean, that seems to be the only reason you would do that. Because he literally, in the same press conference, when he's saying, look, this, whatever, what was it called? It was like a special investigation. And the report about his mental health comes out and says he has dementia. His memory sucks. He doesn't always know where he is. And so in the same sentence where he's like, that's a ridiculous thing, it's so dumb, he also has no idea what's going on in world events. In the exact same speech. Why would you? I mean, you posted something earlier in the week, McShane, that this is like elder abuse. That's what it felt like. It's like, this guy his faculties are diminished, and you just propped him up in front of the entire world and just pushed play and let him just be a fucking idiot. He was an idiot. It was terrible. It was hard to watch. It actually made me uncomfortable. I don't like Joe Biden. It was uncomfortable for me to watch still.
Oh, it's sad and it's completely pathetic.
It was sad. Yeah, it is. And that's and again, putting that up against the Tucker interview with Putin. I mean, even if the entire thing was scripted, at least Putin could remember his fucking lines. It's like no contest. Everybody. I remember somebody. It was a Democratic pundit. I don't remember. It might have been that fucking idiot John Cooper, who is my favorite troll on Twitter. But he said, I would just give Joe Biden 5 minutes alone in a padded room with Putin. I'm like, what? Putin would literally tear him limb from limb and beat him with his own fucking arms. It wouldn't even be close. And I mean, that goes for Trump too. Putin would anybody we're putting up as a president right now. I don't know. Michelle might be able to take him. Michelle Obama might be able to take Putin. I don't know. She's got some wide shoulders, dude. That back. I mean, I do entire workouts to try and get it back like she has naturally. That's crazy.
So
anyway, yeah.
Special prosecutor Robert Hur. This was he was looking into whether Biden needed to be prosecuted for having secret records back from when he was a VP. This is going back to the problem with where they found him in his garage.
Yes.
I mean, it was just like what happened with Trump, as far as, finding, records, classified documents in his bathroom and weird shit like that. So they did kind of the same thing to Biden. But yeah, they come out now and they're not going to prosecute him because he's an elderly man with poor memory. But yet we can go ahead and have him as a president. So as soon as that breaks, now we've got it looks like the DNC, like you were saying, is on. They are going to absolutely destroy him to the point that today The Hill put out an article on should we go ahead and enact the 25th Amendment.
Yep, I saw that too.
Here's let me get into this panel discussion. This was the Anderson Cooper. It's a special counsel. Biden willfully retained classified information. Here's some CNN fun.
I don't think the president did himself any favors in that speech. He undercut two of his biggest messages. The adults are back in charge by sort of being dismissive of, yes, he was exonerated. He's not going to be convicted or tried for this, but there's some really damning pieces of information in here. He had deliberations around Afghan war plans with him. He spoke to a biographer about classified documents who didn't have clearance. This showed a decent level of reckless mishandling of classified information.
He said in that he didn't.
He said that he didn't. So I think there was a dismissiveness to the seriousness of this. And then on the other hand, they were using this bizarre line to say he stepped away from an international crisis, the biggest attack on our ally Israel since the Holocaust, to go deal with a self-inflicted investigation by the Department of Justice. How is that supposed to inspire confidence? I don't know why he went back out. He already said most of this in Virginia today, but this is becoming a 5-alarm fire for the White House.
Mexico? Where did that come from? I mean...
And then we got Jeffrey Toobin, who, jerks off on Zoom meetings. Perfect for CNN there. But that was kind of the that was the level of content that started coming out this week after that story broke. Here's the Biden presser that everybody was talking about.
President Biden, something the special counsel said in his report is that one of the reasons you were not charged is because, in his description, you are a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation. It's totally
bad is your memory, and can you continue as president?
My memory is so bad, I let you speak. That's
your memory has gotten worse, Mr. President?
My memory has not gotten. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I become president. None of you thought I could pass any of the things I got passed. How'd that happen?
All right, so we got that. Now let's go to Biden on the border.
As you know, initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate. I talked to Bibi to open the gate on the Israeli side.
He's referring to the Mexican president when talking about Gaza.
Yep.
This stuff doesn't happen unless they're ready for him to go. The word is out. We're going to have a different somebody else is going to be running for president. And I would go as far as, and maybe this is a poll we do for next week. We'll have to think about how we want to go ahead and term it. But I would think it's probably going to be happening probably within the next month. I would say he's going to have to step out.
Yep. Gaza, Yucatan. Well said, Aaron. No, I think I was going to say March, April at the latest.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think you're right, because that gives them enough time to do the damage control that they have set up for themselves. They've created this damage. Now we got to do damage control, and then someone's going to swoop in and save everything. And I again, the talks, well, the buzz was out there on, was that a CNN poll? And I know on Twitter too, that Michelle Obama's been trending, but I think that was a CNN poll that, Michelle Obama's like the top Democratic pick right now. And I just, oh God, it makes my head hurt. It makes my head hurt that we predicted this shit.
Yeah.
6 months, 8 months ago.
Yep. We did.
And now here we are. I just want to be wrong. I just want to be wrong about something, please. Because you know what? I'm just a regular guy. It's not like you and I, live and breathe this shit, and that like this is our day job, right? I mean, we're not fucking crazy. What's his name? Alex Jones. We're not Alex Jones. That guy, he literally sits from 6 a.m. to 5 a.m. and he just reads this shit and dives into it, and he gets an hour of sleep, and then he wakes up and does it again. That's not who we are. We have day jobs. We have families. We have responsibilities. I'm just casually glancing at the news and reading a little bit deeper.
It's not that hard to see.
No, it's not. It's that's what I mean. Like, I would like for me to just be like, well, shit, I didn't see that. I didn't see that coming, or I didn't read deep enough into that. I'm fucking wrong. But god damn it, it's just right there in your face. And I will say, just finally, not to go back to the Putin interview, but I will say that it did feel in some instances like it was scripted, like we were being shown what we're supposed to see.
Right.
Just like we've been talking about with the whole Biden and Trump thing. Like,
yep. Biden
is so bad, and all we're left with is to see Trump in this positive light. And 3 years ago, Trump was like public enemy number one. Everybody fucking hated him. Right. Well, not everybody, but we all heard that everybody hated him. I didn't like him. I still don't like him as a person. But you're left with this, like, there's no good choice. So it's the lesser of two evils discussion we had last week. And it just seems like it's just too obvious. It's too
it's scripted.
Just there. It's scripted. Yeah.
It was the perfect storm. You have the Putin interview that happens, and you see this strong leader, whether you agree with him or not. Lucid, calling down the thunder, guy you don't really want to fuck with because he's got all his shit together, whether you agree with him or not. And then on our end, you see how we've got this president who's falling apart. And this was his worst week. It just happened to be the same week.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Now, the thing that you were talking about, this was the RC, this Real Clear Politics betting average. Okay, so if you were going to be betting on who the likely president was going to be as far as the 2024 election, okay, Trump is still trending up. He's at 43.2%. He's killing it, right? He's excelling. Now, before this, we'll go back to December. Michelle Obama was under, I think that was probably going to be about 3%.
Yeah.
Well, she's up at almost 10% now. You have others, the likes of Kennedy, RFK Jr., you've got Dean Phillips, he's out. You've got Nikki Haley, she's going in the toilet. She was up above around 13%. She's all the way down below 5% now. She's trending down. Biden is now trending down. He was at 30%, made it all the way up to 35%, and now he's tanking big time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's like a straight down line.
Yeah. Kamala Harris is at 3.5%. So what happens now? We can't, and we also have some RFK news too, because RFK, if he was going to start trending up, that's going to take votes away from whoever they come in to change out for Biden, right?
It's I mean, cue the smear campaign. Cue that he's done something illegal, something that he shouldn't do, so he shouldn't be on the ballot. I mean, that was right on schedule too. Yep.
Yeah, the DNC put out a complaint today on him. Let me see if I have that here. There we go. DNC files complaint against RFK Jr. CBS article. You guys can go and look it up. The DNC announced that it's filing a Federal Election Commission complaint against RFK Jr., independent presidential campaign, and the super PAC supporting him on allegations the two are colluding to get Kennedy on the ballot.
Well, how else is he supposed to get on the fucking ballot? I mean, what? Yeah, they're colluding because that's what you do. You're backing your guy, so that's called collusion. We're having meetings. Hey, we're going to give you a bunch of money. Here's how you should spend it. That's called collusion. Collusion's not always a bad thing. We're colluding on this podcast right now. We're colluding to talk about the news. Why is that a bad thing? How can that be a crime that will now keep him off the ballot? It's like they just pick a word out of a hat. They're like, oh, collusion. All right, collusion. Let's do collusion today. Let's make that a nasty word. And I mean, it's just another word for planning, right? Getting together, scheming.
conspiring.
Yeah, I mean, but they're gonna try, and I like RFK. I like him a lot. The dude has done a lot of good work on a lot of
And that's
really good
precisely
causes.
why they want to smear him now.
Yep. Yep. And on top of it, I forgot about him in the Putin discussion. He could take Putin. Have you seen him working out?
Oh yeah,
Dude's jacked.
Yeah,
He's jacked.
He's definitely jacked. I think Putin would have a shank or something that would take care of it though. I don't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, in a fair fight, in a padded room, in that padded room scenario, I'm putting my money on RFK. I'm gonna lay down a 50 on him.
Just to kind of continue this, Nikki Haley lost to none of the above.
This was by far the best part of the week. By far.
Nevada Republican presidential primary. Keeping in mind that Trump wasn't on this list. And this is what
Right, well,
I think Biden won last week because
Yeah,
there wasn't
he-
anybody else to vote for.
I mean, there was no reason for Trump to be on this, right? I mean, even
No.
if he had wanted to be, there's no reason. We already know he's the front runner. So this was like, okay, who's left after Trump? And Nikki
So
Haley beat everybody except nobody.
Except nobody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, while that's happening, we have the Supreme Court fielding the case of whether or not he should be able to be on the Colorado ballot after being kicked off for allegedly being part of the insurrection on the 6th of January 2021.
I still I'm asking. I'm not trying to be a smartass. I really am not. I still haven't seen any proof that he caused that. In fact, the only words that I've seen from him, tweets and speeches and otherwise, was that he said, "Let's keep it peaceful. Let's make sure that we demonstrate in a peaceful way." And I'm just saying, I could be wrong. I don't know why this is even still a thing, because they have yet to produce any proof that he colluded. There's that word again, that he colluded to make January 6th an insurrection. That's a big fucking word. An insurrection. That actually does come with meaning and some weight to it. And there's zero proof of it. None. Nada. And again, not Trump fan. I don't care about him. He's a piece of shit. But he didn't fucking cause January 6th. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. But
Because,
I mean, that's where we're going with this, though. That's
Right,
what
they're trying to use that.
It is all election manipulation. That is all it
Yes.
is. It's
Yep.
just RFK Jr. Let's go ahead and try and block him from the ballot. Let's make him use his war chest on defending himself. Make Trump use his war chest. Make sure he has to be in a courtroom rather than being out on the presidential trail. The Supreme Court.
Yep.
This is basically the feeling right now. Justice, conservatives and liberals alike expressed concern during the argument about states taking sweeping action that could impact a presidential election nationwide. They pondered how states can properly enforce the Section 3 disqualification language against candidates, with several wondering whether Congress must first pass legislation to enable that. They weren't having anything of this. Conservative Chief Justice John Roberts told Jason Murray, the lawyer representing of Republican voters and two unaffiliated, this is out of Reuters, by the way, voters who sued to keep Trump off the Colorado ballot, that if the judicial decision were to be upheld, other states would proceed with disqualification proceedings of their own against either Democratic or Republican candidates. It'll come down to just a handful of states that are going to decide the presidential election. That's pretty daunting consequences.
Well, and how is it again, let's use the language that is in the Constitution that this language gets thrown around a lot, but a free and fair election. So how is it a free and fair election if one candidate from whatever party, it doesn't matter, is not on the ballot? So then you're basically, let's use Colorado. you're basically disqualifying and disenfranchising all of your voters, because if you don't put one person on the ballot that is legally able to be there, then you're saying that nobody's vote in that state counts, because it's not free and fair anymore. And I mean, so you're literally doing an injustice to your people. Why not just put them on the ballot? Leave it up to the voters. See what they think. What are you afraid of? Oh, I like it. In chat. Too. In chat. Aaron for president 2024. I'm in. I'm in. I will vote for you, Aaron. I will vote for you.
It's a very, very interesting week. I'm ready to call a shot.
All right. Yes. Let's do it.
We kind of talked about this earlier in the week a little bit. We didn't go into it in depth. We can probably do that here if we want. But Trump is going to get in, and then they're going to crash the market. Then they're going to crash the economy. And we will probably end up seeing some kind of terrorist events that he'll be blamed for.
Yep.
Internet outages, all the stuff that we've been talking about. And then we will not have another conservative voice for years to come. Like years to come.
Wow. That's heavy, dude. That's heavy, because not only does that mean that we have to get through the election cycle with all the bullshit that's going to happen, but then we have to deal with all that bullshit, and then we have to deal with decades of the Dems. That's depressing.
Well,
it's
decades of the
Dems
at
this point.
It's decades of the Dems. It's the WHO. It's the globalist agendas. Finally, it's going to be rammed through.
WEF. Yeah, I mean that would be, dude. You know, that would be the end game right there. I mean, that's, you know, we're in Thanos territory here.
Real quick, we know Biden's gonna. We're calling our shot on Biden getting bounced out. Who ends up being the actual who runs for the liberal ticket? And I'm calling it the liberal ticket. It's not a Democrat ticket anymore. It's the liberal ticket.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I used to feel that I was a Democrat for most of my life, and now I couldn't be farther from whatever that is.
We got Mike. We got Big Mike Obama.
Yeah, my that's my first instinct. I think Mike is going to step up, because the Obama name still holds. It still holds some respect and some weight in political circles, in African American communities, really all minority communities. Even though Barack never did anything for them at all. In fact, things got worse under him. But hey, who's talking about that? His skin looks like my skin, so he must be cool. That's my initial. But I could also see them. I could see watch California. I could see them dusting off Gavin Newsom, not Gary. He looks like a fucking Gary.
He does look like a Gary.
Sorry. Sorry, that was bad. They're gonna dust off Gavin Newsom. He's gonna do some things where you go, oh, okay, all right. He's doing some stuff that's okay. He's got his head out of his ass now, and they're gonna prop him up. Those are my two picks. I think Mike first, and if they can't make that boat float, then they're gonna go with Gary, aka Gavin Newsom.
I'm still leaning into Newsom. I think it's going to be Newsom first, and then maybe the king of shoulders.
God, that is an amazing back. Jesus,
it truly is. I mean, I don't know.
I'm telling you, I'm mid workout. I'm doing pull-ups, and I'm like, just be like Mike, just fucking. Obama's shoulders, like that's what you want, bro. Do one more. No, do one more. How many would Mike do? Mike would do one more. God damn. Anyway,
the GOP blocking the border bill kind of got buried this week. I don't think it was just horrible. It was a bill that was, here's $20 billion for the border, and we're going to give like $80 billion in foreign aid to other places. That's all it fucking was. It was so terrible.
Someone did the math, and it was a titled a border bill, and it was 19% of the money was actually going towards the border. The rest of the money in this bill,
it wasn't even called. I mean, it was the border bill, but it wasn't even called a border. It was like the United States Security something.
Yeah.
They couldn't even come out and say it was a border bill.
Well, but that's what they touted it as.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah, of course. That was the spin.
That's how they slipped. Yeah, that's how they slipped it in. But I'm saying only 19% of the money was going to go to the actual border, and the other 81% went to foreign countries. I mean, how is that our security when all of our money is going somewhere else? Because I'm telling you right now, Russia's not a threat to us. Neither is Hamas or the Houthis. They're not on our borders, people. So they're not a threat to us. So why are we spending all this money to fight them? Think about it. Think about it. It's beetle-headed. It's asinine. And it's right back to what you said. It's money laundering.
And there's also language in it, besides the money laundering, which is awful, but there's also language in it that goes ahead and says, yeah, well, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we're going to put in two things. One, we're not going to even address the fact that we have people coming into over the border that are from China, Africa, Egypt, India. Yep. We're not going to address that. They're not part of this bill. We're only going to address somebody who's coming in from Mexico and down farther south in this hemisphere.
And families.
That's all it's going to. So we're going to go ahead and hurt our closest neighbor, but we're going to be totally cool with everybody else coming in. So that was going to go in as law. And then on top of that, they were going to make it so that we were going to make sure that we were always able to take in 6 million immigrants each year. I think it was over that. But that was going to be it was legalizing the whole process. Rather than buckling it down, shutting down the border, putting tighter constraints, putting an actual process together so that, people could come across the border, be taken care of, and have legislation put in that was going to be supportive for all the states. No, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make it a bigger money laundering. We're going to go ahead and exploit it for all we can and fuck the United States people. That's what it came down to.
Yeah, I think my favorite spin all week was how, and it wasn't even like Democratic politicians who came out and did this. It was, the Democratic mindless zombies, the fucking blue hairs, and those sympathetic to it, and Stephen King being one of them.
Ugh.
And he put out a tweet. I know he put out a tweet, and it was something to the effect of, here Biden finally does something for the border that the Republicans can get behind, but because it would elevate Biden's status, they vote it down. Literally, that's what he thinks, is that this was an ego check, that we're not going to give Biden a win. That's why we're voting it down. I mean, that's what they think, is that Biden he's fucking walking on water. He can do no wrong. He offers up this, from on high, from Mount Sinai, he offers up the fucking tablets and says, here, my children, eat and drink and live by these laws. And then, the asshole Republicans vote it down because, we don't want his ego getting any bigger. Are you fucking serious? Come on, read a little bit deeper, people. Go past the surface of the glass and find out that, hey, that's a whole fucking car. It's not just a windshield. It's unbelievable, the spin that happened. And I was laughing out loud. I was laughing out loud at the absurdity of it. And yet these people, this is their ideology. This is what they believe. They wake up every day and they believe this shit. This is how they put one foot in front of the other. Insanity.
How'd that beer treat you?
Dude, I'm literally, good timing. I'm literally on my last gulp. We do have a Hefe sighting in 5 minutes or so. So if we're gonna break, we should do it now, or we should wait for him to come and then we can break.
No, let's break, grab our next beer, and then we'll get back. We'll get back after. We'll hustle.
Love it.
Cool.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Against the grain. I don't recall having this. I know I've probably had them at least once or twice. Oh, nice. Gray's Tap Room just suddenly pops in when I'm about to pop Bo and Luke. That sounded really, really weird.
Nice. Yeah. Popping Bo and Luke on a Saturday night. That's
oh boy.
I'm pretty sure I saw that porno.
I think so. So yeah, I Against the Grain is the brewer. Bo and Luke is the beer. Now, this is an imperial smoked stout aged in bourbon barrels. The barrel-aged ale uses the staple ingredients barley, rye, and corn, plus cherry wood smoked malt to create a huge imperial stout. To top it all off, we barrel-aged the beer for 3 Kentucky months. I want to understand what a Kentucky month is, just so I can compare it to what an Arizona month is. The result...
I think, and I mean, I don't mean any no disrespect, but I mean, it's a fact. Most people in Kentucky can't count, right? So I think it's like 48 days or something, isn't it? Is that true? Maybe the Grays can help me out with that.
Shit. Yeah. Grays are the exception to that.
Of course. No, I know they know how to count.
No, they totally do. And they made Chris Hardwick love their show tonight. That's fantastic. Good
Nice.
for you guys. I hope it was a good show.
Excelente.
Anyway, the result is a rich and complex imperial smoked stout with hints of caramel, vanilla, and spice. So I'm jacked for this one. I love that Bo is a skeleton and Luke has the 1 in the pink, 2 in the stink. Or 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink, however you want to go about that.
Yeah.
But that's what he's that's the fingering that he has as he's hanging out the General Lee. So very cool stuff. I'll throw a picture of this up. Oh shit.
Okay. Don't leave us hanging.
Oh my god. Okay, so this might be one of the best beers I've ever had.
Wow. Okay.
You ever seen those movie cutscenes where something happens in like reality, just like or not even, maybe it's not even reality. It might be like an alternate scene or an alternate reality, or somebody sees the future and it all comes to them at once and then it like goes away. You ever know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yep.
Okay, follow me here because this is fucked up. I tasted smoked kielbasa, vanilla. It was just fucking crazy when I took that first drink.
Shit.
It's malty. Oh fuck. I don't know if you guys can get more of this, but I'm gonna Venmo you. Oh my god. This is nuts. This is one of the best smoked beers I've had. This is
that's awesome.
I'm tearing up.
Well, that's a special moment. We do have a Hefe sighting.
What's up?
How's it going,
What's
Hefe?
up, man? How are you?
Good, man. It's going good. I got some good news and bad news.
Uh-oh.
Okay. All right.
What do you want? What do you want first?
I always start with the bad news. What's the bad news?
Well, it took 8.5 years, but I'm no longer the only Jeff dealing at this casino.
Dun dun dun.
That is bad news. Damn.
Yeah, it came as quite a shock last night.
I'm sorry. Are you okay?
I guess. Right? I'm kind of pissed. Actually, they didn't come to me with this. They didn't ask me if it's okay. Nothing. Just threw them out there and let me find out. That's some bullshit. You got to tell me.
Yeah,
you
seriously.
Say, hey. Yeah.
Well, it's
at least a fucking memo.
Yeah, it's time to change to I'm El Jefe or something.
Oh, I wish they used to let us put whatever we want. Not whatever we want, but You didn't have to have your legal name on your badge. Now you fucking do. First and last, which is great when you piss off a player.
They really make you put your last name on there?
Yep.
Dude, at work, I made up I followed Captain America and made my work name Steve Rogers.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. So anybody when I ever have to talk to a customer, I always give them Steve Rogers.
Yep.
And I actually had a customer go, like Captain America, because I was doing an escalated call. I'm like, yeah, just like Captain America.
Nice.
That sucks.
I know.
All right, man. So I just went and checked, and I've got the duct tape, the shovel, and the plastic bag. So who is this fucking Jeff guy?
Well, there's one good thing about it, and this is not my good news, but I just remembered this. He kind of looks like Walter from Big Lebowski.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
So he's a big Jeff. He's a
Oh, he's much bigger than the Hefe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's not is it spelled with a J or is it with a G?
I don't fucking know. I didn't find out yet. I don't care.
That's not. You can't spell Jeff with a G. That's not a thing. I mean, I know it's a thing, but it's not real.
I was gonna say I know a Jeff with a G.
Oh,
a Joffrey.
We grew up with
Oh my gosh.
We grew up with one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. With a J, it's Jeff. With a G, it's Geoff.
Yeah. It's Goaf. It's Goaf.
What are you doing? I'm Geoffing.
Go or I'm goafing. Hey, let's go.
Hefe, you went to the Renaissance Festival today. What was your experience like?
It was cool. It was more, I don't know. I've never been before. I managed to spend 35, 36 years here without going.
Okay.
But I just had the sense that it was just kind of a little piece of shit thing, and it was massive. It was well run and everything like that. It was cool. It was pretty cool. I liked it. It froze my balls off. It was so fucking
cold.
Oh my god! I thought I was gonna die.
And it was still raining out there too, wasn't it?
Part of the time, yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. But when the sun came out, oh, it was great. I basked in it. It was so nice. But it took like 5 hours before that happened.
So tell us about the corsets.
Yeah.
Dude, everybody was covered up.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, because it was cold.
Yeah, there was a couple here and there.
Sucks.
There was this one. So we were sitting at a table eating, and this little group sat at the other end of the table, and this one girl comes walking up after a while at the head of the table, so she's like facing the whole table, like all of us. And I looked up, and this cute girl, little blonde hair, pigtails. I was like, oh, that's. And she had this like button-up shirt on, and I just looked, and it was open, and she had the head of a girl in the body of a boy. I mean, she had a cute face. Like I would have,
Wait.
Hold it.
Yeah, hold on. Time out, because you had me until you said body of a boy.
Well, because her shirt was her shirt was unbuttoned, so that it was halfway down her chest and stomach, and it was open. And I saw a nipple, and it was a man's chest. It wasn't a woman. It was, it wasn't a small breast. It was a man's chest. And
pectoral region.
I'm sorry. Did you see a penis?
No, I stopped looking at it.
It might have just been a small-breasted woman.
No.
Aaron, it's a trap.
But that didn't ruin my day or anything, but it just threw me off for a second. I thought I was getting, a free look, and I was.
That's how they get you. Hey, I mean, we all learned in Meet the Fockers, you can milk anything with a nipple.
Absolutely. You milk me? You milk me, Greg? But the good news from
Oh yeah, good news.
is I have a kick-ass farm report.
Oh yes.
Oh, all right. Let's do this.
This is a two-parter, so strap in.
Whoa! All right.
I'm buckled in, man. Let's do it.
I was going to do like an over-under for this, but I figured that'd be too complicated and take too long. But here you go. The longest recorded flight by a chicken is 13 seconds. And the longest distance a chicken has ever covered in flight is 301.5 feet. That's your farm report.
How did you come across that?
Well, my hours upon hours of studying for this report. That's how.
Oh my God.
You know, I think that whole report right there justifies chicken wings. Like why we can eat chicken wings, because they don't fucking need them. They don't know how to use them.
Right.
So we just take them off and eat them.
Take what we want.
I mean, you know, you don't see people going to a fucking restaurant and ordering deer legs. Why? Because the deers need them to run. But chicken wings, man, you don't just go for it.
Would it be
Eat
more?
whatever you want.
Would it be more humane to amputate the wings and then leave the chickens alive?
No, because the rest of them are delicious too.
Okay. I just want to check because PETA might get angry. I mean, we saw what PETA is doing now, right, Fitz?
Oh yeah, yes, PETA calling down the thunder, which I cannot tell you how behind this I am. I'm more behind this than Peter North behind a fucking $2 whore. They have called down the thunder and they said that they are officially wanting to ban. Where they want to call for an end to all carousel animals. You know, the fake plastic horses with the giant pole through the middle of their bodies. They want to call an end to that because it's subtly and subconsciously propagating us using animals for our own pleasure, I guess. So little girls who want to be a princess, sorry, nope, you cannot. You don't get to ride a horse and make believe. You don't get to ride a horse in real life because that's using them also. You just, that's it. No more carousel animals.
This week, animal rights group PETA called for an animal-themed carousel rides to cease production, arguing that they normalize harmful attitudes towards non-human creatures. We're really there. We're really there. Electric bulls. Those need to go.
Oh God, that's that was one of those where I had to double check it wasn't the Babylon Bee.
Right? Totally.
Just ridiculous.
All animals are thinking, feeling, affectionate, playful, and social beings who form strong bonds with their offspring, if permitted to keep them. The group wrote, they crave freedom from oppression. Animal-themed carousel sets reinforce the notion that these sentient beings are simply here for our entertainment rather than individuals with the same capacity to experience fear, pain, joy, and love as any of us.
Wow.
You know, yeah, that's God, that's so true because, you know, I remember thinking the last time I was on a carousel and I was sitting on a horse, I was like, man, I need to go kill a fucking real horse now. Fuck this fucking thing.
Why don't all horses have poles running through them and going up and down? Why aren't they all making cool noises and you know, songs that I can like find enjoyment from?
And why don't they all run in circles only? Like around and around and around. So that's how I killed the horse. I just took a giant spear and went right through his spine, and then he just ran in circles for a while till he died. It was great. It's great.
Yeah, and then you covered him in enamel so that you could write him.
Well, yeah, he's mounted in my fucking backyard right now.
Nice.
I don't know where PETA. Why don't we go to work for PETA and just start making up random shit like this? We can do this.
Oh yeah. Oh, it can't be that hard. I mean, it can't
they're
be
not
that hard.
Yeah, they're not. They're not. Like, I feel stupid for not coming up with this.
Well, I think the next thing we need to absolutely do away with is stuffies, right? Like stuffed animals for kids.
Oh, stuffed animals have to go.
Done. Right? That's teaching these animalistic kids that animals are less than they are. So we should do away with all stuffies. Yeah, fucking
teddy
done.
bears
gone.
Animal toys that are shaped as other animals.
What about those
dog toys?
What about those people that put like owls up on their roof to keep rodents?
God, yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
super torturous. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Owls
yeah.
aren't supposed to be in one place. Owls are supposed to be free.
Right.
And yeah, Beard is right. Animal crackers. Fuck animal crackers.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, I miss that.
Wow. I mean, I think we're onto something here, guys. I feel like, what if we started, whiskey hell PETA? Like, just call it WETA. Like whiskey hell for the ethical treatment of animals. And we will totally usurp PETA. Right? We'll usurp, because we can come up with way wilder shit than you can, you fucking morons. You have no idea. And we're starting with animal crackers. I like that, Beard. Thank you. That's great.
We should probably ban zoos.
Zoos definitely need to be banned. I'm sure they've already even said that too.
Household pets, really. I mean, my dog he's tortured. He doesn't live a cush life. He doesn't get treats every day. He doesn't get love every day. He doesn't get a walk every day.
Oh,
poor guy.
He has dreams.
He's a slave animal. He's a slave animal, and I think he should be banned. Pets should be banned.
He's not there for your enjoyment. You need to let him go. I'm gonna let mine. You know what? I'm gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna let mine go.
Yeah. Let them roam free in the wild. They'll be fine. Good God.
What fucking planet are we on?
I don't know. Hefe, how's the other than fake Jeff? How's the night going at the casino?
Pretty good. Last night was really good. Tonight's off to a good start.
Dude,
about halfway
nice
through.
You've had a pretty bad run there for a while, so that's nice to hear.
Yeah, it gets ugly, but there's definitely good nights to even it out. So they're gonna make me do a 4-ball, so I'm probably not gonna make it back unless I go home sick at 10.
I like that idea. You know what? All you have to do is you have to say, like, look, I'm good for 2 balls. I know what to do with 2 balls. You give me 4 and I'm overloaded and now I need to go home.
Yep.
I'm gonna get excited.
Right. I mean,
it sounds like you're going back in. Are you going back in now?
Yeah, going back in.
All right,
man. Well, enjoy the rest of your night, and thanks for calling in as always, and we'll see you next week, dude.
Sounds good, man. See you later.
Later. Ooh, that's a good call. You could tell him you're having menstrual cramps, and there's not a fucking thing they can do about it, because men get menstrual cramps now too.
Oh my God, you're right.
There's nothing they can do.
I'm having hot flashes. All right, so Bo and Luke, I'm really fucking impressed. Fitz, what are you drinking?
Well, what a quinkydink. I'm also drinking a Bo and Luke.
Ooh.
But mine has a different little spin here on it.
Okay.
Mine is an Imperial Smoked Stout, aged in bourbon barrels, but mine is the Coconut Cream Pie edition. So I've got the beer that you have, the base beer that you have, but I have coconut flavor and coconut cream flavor added to it. So Kind of basically the same thing. This barrel-aged ale uses the staple ingredients, blah, 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 blah. But to top it all off, we barrel-age it for 3 Kentucky months, which, again, I don't know what that is. But the result is this Bo and Luke variant is a rich and complex Imperial Smoke Stout with hints of chocolate and vanilla. So, I mean, in honor of Chinese New Year, I mean, how could you go wrong with this beer? I do like their
it matches perfectly.
Their can art is just fucking amazing. Because on this one, Bo and Luke are both they're both wearing Daisy Dukes, and they have tattoos all over their legs, but they're kind of zombie blue. Pretty cute, really. Anyway, I've been holding off here, so I wanted to have my first sip be live and on air, so here we go. Oh God. Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you were not kidding. Dude, that smoke, it hits you, but it's not overpowering. It's not uncomfortable. It's just like, hey, here, I'm gonna smoke
fucking
you.
Crazy.
Yeah, there it is. That's the art I got on the can right there, right in front of the General Lee, which is badass. No, so it is smoky. There's a little, definitely on the back end. There's the chocolate, but right in the middle, kind of while it's ruminating in your mouth, it's colluding.
That's a really good word.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, both of those words apply, but while it's in there, I get the subtle hints of the vanilla and the coconut. Really, I like subtlety in beers. I don't like shit to be in my face. This is fucking well done. I'm with you, dude. I'm willing to Venmo Graze. I won't just Venmo you the cost of the beer and the shipping.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay you to go and buy this for me. This is
I like
amazing.
where this is going.
Great beer. You're basically gonna be our beer whores. I'm your pimp. And you're gonna. I'm whoring you out. You're gonna go find beers, and you're gonna go find this one again. It's amazing.
It is so I didn't even get to the point where I was like thinking about smoked meat with mine, and now I'm like totally in that, and that's how the beer is like kind of evolved over just the last few minutes.
Yeah,
this is stupid good.
Yeah, it's really good. Great way to, and oh, I don't think either of us mentioned this is a 14.9%er, so this is not one to just play around with, kids. This is make sure your parents are home when you have this one.
Yours is even higher ABV than mine. Mine's 12.5.
Oh, this is a 14.9.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
You're going to be fun later.
I'm taking it right in the leather Cheerio here. It's good.
Leather Cheerio needs to be used more. I mean, the term.
Right. I mean, also, they need to be used more.
True. I can argue that point. I mean, I can't argue with that point.
Wow. They got a whole lineup of these.
That's
great.
They're fucking crazy.
They're fucking solid, dude. They're solid.
Bo and Luke brewery. Amberana. Imperial smoked stout aged in bourbon barrels with secondary aging in Amberana barrels.
The fuck's an Amberana?
I don't know, but it sounds sexy.
I like to think that I know words. I don't know that word.
Well, let's look it up. This is what we do. Let's educate our listeners. It's cool. Here we go.
And at the same time, educating ourselves.
Oh, Amberana wood.
I do like that Google went with the, Gung Hei Fat Choi theme for their search engine. They got a little dragon up there. Happy New Year.
Amberana is a genus of legume in the family Fabaceae. Fabaceae.
It's a legume?
It's a legume, yeah. It contains 3 species, which are native to Brazil, Peru, Bolivia, Paraguay, and northwestern Argentina. Amberana acriana. Huh. Son of a bitch. That's fascinating. Look at that. And that's what it looks like. That's what the wood ends up looking like. I'll throw this in. I'll throw this into show notes. I'm actually mesmerized by it. How Amberana wood took over whiskey.
Yeah. I think we just hit on something here.
We totally did.
You learn something new every day, and that's why I didn't know the word. The word it's a Brazilian word. I've never been to Brazil.
No, we need to go to Brazil. They got big butts in Brazil too.
Dude,
Little
imagine going down there and being part of Carnival.
Oh shit, we'd be in jail. We'd be in jail.
Well, we would be around beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people because the Brazilian people are just
absolutely.
Good God, gorgeous. Not just the women either. There's some men down there that I'd totally make out with if you get a couple of beers in me. But Carnival is like everybody's half naked. It's a fucking party, for like 2 days straight. It's just, and like their philosophy is like if you have a hangover, the best cure for that hangover is to just fuck everybody. Well, no, and then you go drink.
Really? Is that the best cure?
I mean, sex.
Oh,
I know. And
headache,
orgasm
throwing up. I should probably go bang someone.
Well, the headache part. I mean, an orgasm is like the best cure for a headache, apparently, because it releases all those endorphins and calms everything down. But anyway, I'm in. Whatever it is, whatever their cure is, I want it. Cure me, please.
Beer to Liberty from an Umbrana infusion spiral ad. Umbrana tends to reduce acidity in a beverage, highlighting more beverage flavor while contributing sweet and savory flavors of gingerbread and vanilla. Herbal notes of thyme can also be detected.
Wow. That's
like... want to go find
an Amberana whiskey.
Yep.
Me too.
Yep. Hey, we got Tabby in chat now.
So
fascinating.
Apparently,
that's a rabbit hole we probably shouldn't have gone down, but we did. But we want everybody to be enriched. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah, that's right. So where are we going next here? Because we covered a lot of like the big stuff that happened this week in that first half of the show, and now I feel like it's time to hit some of the stories that flew under the radar and or were just like kind of cool shit we found. Which yes, this is great. Yes, definitely hit this one. This is micro.
To me, the big breakdown in higher education came during the pandemic. When the schools were closed, the kids had to mask up. They didn't go. They lost the university experience. I think the breakdown in higher education started then. You with me?
New York University raised its tuition during Zoom classes. At some point, you've got to look at the people who are paying the bills. It's almost like they're being dared, right? It's like, how much further will it go? Meanwhile, in my little tiny world, we offer work ethic scholarships for kids who want to learn a skill that's in demand. The foundation's never been more robust. We're giving away another $1 million at the end of the month for these kinds of scholarships. They're not sexy. They're like euthyrilities, Mark, right? They're just, they're there. But welders, steam fitters, pipe fitters, heating, air conditioning, electric. Our country is built on those things. Whether they're sexy or not, the opportunities exist. There's a path to six figures, and it's shorter than you think.
SHOP disappeared from high school. Well, didn't disappear, but SHOP was downgraded in high schools many, many years ago.
Oh, yeah.
When the universities wanted a more, intellectual, academic education.
Look, this is
what it meant to the universities.
We need, higher ed needed better PR in the 70s because we needed more engineers and we needed more doctors and we needed a lot of that. Unfortunately, the PR that came with the push for that came at the expense of the careers we're talking about. In other words, they weren't content to simply make a case for higher ed. They made it by saying, if you don't go in this direction, you're screwed. If you don't go in this direction, you're going to wind up under a house welding or some crazy thing. That was dumb, and the unintended consequences of that are this. Skills gap. Giant skills gap, 11 million open jobs.
But I get the impression that things are changing. Not many corporations, well, some corporations no longer require a university degree, and more people are realizing you can make $100,000 a year as a plumber or electrician once you've got a couple of years of experience under your belt. Right?
Final thought on PR, because it matters. Big study recently released asked Americans to rank the 50 most important things next to the 50 things that they think people find most important. On the list of the most important things, a 4-year degree was number 47, almost at the bottom. On the list of things that people believe other people find important, it was number 3.
How about
the
that?
collective illusion surrounding the primacy of a 4-year degree is tipping. And when it falls, it's going to go splat. And when that happens, you're going to see a whole nother conversation emerge around the jobs that actually exist today.
I want my kids to go into something like that. Something that is hands-on. Something, maybe it's auto, maybe it's some kind of tech. I would love for my kids to be able to make 100K a year. Can you imagine? Could you imagine? Okay, let's go back to when we were like in our 19 and 20. Now, granted, we were wired for other stuff.
Yeah.
But could you imagine 2 or 3 years out after an apprenticeship and pulling down 80K, 90K, 100K a year? And what you're doing? I mean, it's hard goddamn work. Don't get me wrong. This is not easy stuff. But that's pretty fucking cool. And you're doing something that's never going to go away. We're always going to need that. It's not going to be swallowed up by AI. It's not going to be swallowed up by coding. It's not going to be the whole. It's not an Instagram thing. It's not something. It's not driven by all that bullshit. It's filthy work at a lot of time. You're going to be tired when you get done, but Jesus Christ. I couldn't imagine being 21, 22, 23 and going, yeah, I just pocketed 40 grand. That's fucking amazing.
All right.
And he's not far off.
No. I mean, no, he's dead right. I've been saying this for a long time. You know, when we used to have those vocational, we had, that voc track in high school for the kids that just weren't great at academics. And it was, I mean, you kind of looked at them like they were not like you, but they weren't less than, at least not in my high school. It was like, oh, those are the shop kids. They're going to go do something. They're going to go do shit that builds the world. And so they were respected for that. I mean, dude, if we were pulling down 100 grand, 100 G's, at 25, do you know how many strippers' kids would have been able to buy Jordans? But no, I mean, we would have blown it on all, erroneous shit probably. We wouldn't have saved it like we should have. But the point being, we would have had a lot more freedom to do things we wanted to do back then. And yeah, it's hard work. But you know what? All hard work does is teach you more work ethic, which I'm sorry, our kids don't have right now. A lot of them don't have work ethic. I am. Go ahead.
No, go continue.
Oh, all I was going to say is I'm not going to use names obviously, but I am working with one of my staff right now who is struggling to do a 5-day work week. In fact, that this person is out of sick days, but still has just put in time off for the next 3 Mondays. Because they can't do a full work week, and he's 25, he'll be 26 next month. When I was 26, I drank until 3 a.m. and then still did a 40-hour work week. I mean,
I had a schedule. I had a schedule purposely so that I could sleep in until 10 o'clock, then go to work at 10:30, and then go back out drinking at 8 o'clock. That night.
Yes, I know. And I mean, but above all, you were going to show up to work no matter what. And this person doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't do anything.
Just can't get out of bed.
Just can't get out of bed. And I'm not, obviously this person has their own issues going on, and I'm not being disparaging. What I'm saying is that on the whole, you can hear this story more often than you can hear, hey, I got an 18-year-old who gets the fuck up and goes to work 7 days a week and works his ass off. Like that's a rarity nowadays. And that's just kind of what we did back then. Even on our days off, what were we doing? We were playing sports as hard as we could.
Oh yeah.
Trashing our bodies.
We burned the candle at both ends. And you know what?
Yep.
Because we liked it. We liked it. We liked it. We liked it. Aaron, your kid made damn near $100,000 and he's 23 years old. Fuck. Yeah. Well done. Well done, Dad. Yeah, well done, Mom.
Huge. It's huge. It's huge.
Oh,
and I mean, and you know, first of all, Mike Rowe, like I just love his no bullshit. Just I'm gonna tell it to you like it is. He's always got his facts straight.
Yeah.
His fucking voice, my God. I mean, I love his voice. I wish I had been born with that voice, but.
Well, there's his voice and Aaron's voice, one of the two. You that's what.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I just listen, Mike Rowe, in some fantasy world where you're listening to the show, we are huge fans. If you ever want to be a guest on the show, we would welcome you with open arms. And or if you want to just go grab a beer with Whiskey Hell, we're up for that too.
I'm all in. Hey, we've got a medical emergency at the Grays. Mike is puking and shitting himself on the toilet, and Tabby might call 911, and if she does, she's going to go live for us.
Okay. I guess we'll be ready for that. Let's invoke the Whiskey Hell Emergency Action Plan, the WHEAP, the WEHAP.
And so many. You've made several acronyms tonight, which is fantastic. WEDA.
I'm in an acronym mood, dude.
You are. That's okay. That's
okay. Anyway, so we're ready. Let's.
All right.
Oh, good. We made him laugh. That's good. That's good. It's good to laugh even when you're puking. Oh God, did you just show the? Yes. Let's do this one. Yes, please.
Let's just fuck it. A transgender Michigan woman sued her ex-boyfriend for discarding her surgically removed testicles.
God damn it. Why is that funny? That's not funny.
No, it's not funny, but it's amazing. It's so brilliant. The judge could not he threw it out because he couldn't quantify the emotional damage that went along with it. Brianna Kingsley, 40, last year filed a small claims petition alleging her ex, William Wachowski, because he retained possession of, I don't even know how to read this because it's a she, but it's a he, and his surgically extracted testicles preserved in a mason jar that they kept in the fridge next to the eggs.
Why would you keep it in the fridge? Why? Well, who are these people?
Who keeps testicles? He threw the testicles out because they were going bad.
Oh God! Imagine what that looked like. Imagine what that smelled like.
We're talking about my nuts. I wanted them in my fridge, not his. Kingsley told a court hearing. Damages were the loss of these. Oh, fuck me.
The damages were the loss of these nuts. See,
you have to read it as D's nuts. You have to read it as D's nuts. D-E-E-Z.
But that's what I mean. Are we being trolled here? Is this
this is legit
trolling? No. Are they legitimately filing a court filing just so that they could troll everybody? And I mean, look at this person. It's a fucking human unicorn, first of all. And second of all,
look at the dog.
The
dog looks so lost.
If you need to transition, if you feel in your soul that you were born into the wrong body, right? Let's say I was born with 6 fingers on one of my hands. And I'm like, I don't feel like I don't feel like a 6-fingered person. I feel like a 5-fingered person. I want this finger removed. Once it's removed, I want the hospital to dispose of it. Like that's who I was, and that's not who I identify as. I identify as a 5-finger. So get rid of it because I never want to see it again. Why the fuck would I keep the finger? Why did she keep her balls? If you don't want them anymore on your person, that means you forfeit them. You don't get to keep them, period. They're gone. And next to the eggs,
they were
why
rotting in
the
my
eggs?
they were rotting in my fridge, and it was disgusting. I've got food in there I wanted to eat. Why only $6,500? Why only $6,500?
Look at what these people are wearing to court. That
Oh,
guy
it's a
showed
fucking
up at
clown
court
show.
like that.
It's a clown show. Yeah, he's wearing a couch on his head.
He's wearing a fucking I'm sorry, an African.
I don't. Is it?
It looks African to me.
I don't know.
And a fucking pink flannel, and probably some rock band T-shirt underneath it. That, remember when you used to go to court? Like, you showed up in your fucking in a suit if you had one, and if you didn't have one, you sure as hell went down and found a nice sweater and a nice decent pair of shoes and spit.
You tried to look like you tried to look semi-professional at least.
Yeah. And now people are just showing up to court with like whatever they fucking woke up in. I don't know. I was on a bender. I had this flannel on. I don't even know whose it is. I'll go to court. What the fuck?
Since the testicles had been discarded, the judge said he was unable to grant Kingsley's request that they be returned to her. And he asked why she'd arrived at the $6,500 figure. Specifically, why I asked you, I can put a dollar amount on, say, if you were missing work at $16 an hour, Bowie said. But as to testicles, I can't really put a number on it.
I mean, I would have asked for like $1 million each. Because
Dude,
my balls are worth something. You know what I mean? Like my balls. Okay, yeah. This is a great story. I do wish Hefe was here for this story, because I think we all are in agreement of where our thought process went on this particular story. But that's okay. Hefe, enjoy this one. We will try and get your comments from earlier in the week into this story, but go ahead.
Yeah, totally. So this is another a New York Post lifestyle story. I work in a brothel. Moms pay me to deflower their clueless virgin sons. As a licensed sex worker, now she works out of the bunny. Is it the bunny ranch? The chicken ranch in Nevada, Pahrump. Mm-hmm. Ariel Little, 33, works at the Chicken Ranch, a legal licensed brothel in Pahrump, Nevada, but she also ventures outside of the erotic establishment to offer inexperienced clients a full wining and dining experience. Moms are sending their sons to me ahead of Valentine's Day to get their first experience under their belt. They're reaching out from a place of care and concern, wanting to make sure their kid essentially doesn't become bitter and negative towards women. They get in touch because their kids have never connected with women before for whatever reason. Getting to sit and go out on a date is truly a first experience for them, so it's stressful and nerve-wracking, Little explains. To help these men into the world of dating, the sex worker will organize a practice date to set them up with skills they're going to need to be successful in relationships in the future. I've had guys shaking in a mocked-up first date situation. For some of these gentlemen, they've not even had their first kiss. I think it's literally beneficial to have the first experience with someone who's more experienced, because there's not going to be any judgment. I have a pretty good sense of how to get people to relax and overcome their nerves and set somebody up for the first time possible. She's explained that she's noticed a lot of virginal men aged in their 30s, 40s, and 50s reevaluating their priorities during the pandemic, deciding to try and have their first sexual experience.
Jesus.
Fascinating article. This was probably the most interesting article that I think we found overall.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I agree. I do think it was well written. I think, from a very realistic point of view, a very reality-based point of view, she's right. And she is, snicker all you want, but she is providing a valuable service. The problem is, the problem with all of it is that if your first experience is with somebody who, A, is paid to be there, and B, has a goal for the final, like how the night is going to end, then if you don't initiate it, then she will. And I think in this day and age, that sends a really mixed message to men, because it encourages these men who already are virgins, who already don't know how to make the first move with a woman, who already don't even know how to introduce themselves. It's saying, look, if you just sit there long enough, she's gonna go down on you. And I'm here to tell you guys, that's not how it works.
Not how it works. No.
No. I mean, part of my personality, part of my outgoing, the ridiculous shit I say came out of desperation of wanting to get laid. I mean, I had to be, I wasn't the best looking. I wasn't the tallest. I wasn't the strongest. I wasn't the best athlete. I wasn't the best student. I wasn't the best at anything. I had nothing on my resume. What I did have was balls enough to put myself out there and be ridiculous and be sweet and endearing and funny to women. So that's what I did. That's the persona I adopted in order to get coupled, however you want to put it. And I'm not saying sex was the only motivator. I've had great relationships with women, great companionship. I've had amazing friends along with sexual partners. But that was how I did it. And we have all found our niche. You know, some guys are big and tall, so they can just stand on that. Some guys like Hefe are just really good looking. Great. That's going to get you laid. I didn't have any of that. And these guys who don't have any of that either, they just sit back and wait for a paid woman to come in and initiate. You're not learning. I'm sorry to tell you, you're not learning any skills. You're just paying for sex. You're just a John. And
See, okay.
So
I'm going to take the other angle on that. Now,
okay,
I totally get where you're coming from, and I do agree that there is an element of there's a lot of fantasy to that, right? And if you don't have the emotional awareness to understand that it's fantasy, then you're going to have it's kind of like growing up and saying, "Wow, gosh, porn stars. Whoa, every woman I'm going to be with needs to look like a porn star." Right. Yeah, that's not fucking reality. It's not. You're going to get the blemishes. You're going to get the imperfections are going to come with it. You're going to deal with it because you're not perfect either. Right. So it's not realistic. You definitely have that element of it, but there is also, though, I think, an element of ripping the Band-Aid off and unleashing that. Whoa, okay, I kind of get it. And if I have realistic expectations, I could fucking do this. I could ride a fucking bike. I can get out there and I'm going to go ask her for her number. It's suddenly that because there's an element when you're I was never the guy who could go up to a chick. I wasn't. I was a slow play. I had to know him. I had to talk to him. I could not ask for a phone number unless I was fucking wasted out of my mind. I was doing the fucking hat dance. You know this.
Yes, the hat dance. I'm glad it got brought up.
That was the only time that I was going to be able to talk to a chick, and even then, it was a fucking zero. No way. Nothing was going to happen.
But only because I fucked that night up.
No, but that was very consistent though. I was never that guy who was able to be outgoing. Now, if I understood, if I had a little bit more of a understanding that this is a person on the other end, right? They're human too. They've got imperfections, and wow, you know what? She might put my member in her mouth. This is kind of cool. I'm going to come out of my shell here and say, wow, I want to go and I'm going to go get her phone number. I'm going to go talk to her. Maybe maybe that conversation that she has at dinner before it led to, the actual hooking part, the brothel part.
Population. Yep.
That's the social interaction that some folks need to jumpstart, hopefully, an engine that's really ready to go. I have two very different kids, and I'm like reading this article. I'm like, you know what? Oldest kind of falls into that area.
Yeah.
Youngest is not going to have any. He's down. No problems.
No problems at all. No.
But I can see where that could be effective. I think you're right, though. It does build in a false set of expectations if you're not looking at it from a healthy perspective. And I think that's the part that is a problem. You've got these kids, these guys, and to Tabby's point, women, we're sitting behind this phone. right? And we're not getting out from behind the phone. So it's much easier to go ahead and text somebody and flirt with them. It's much easier to go ahead and send that pic or send that video or whatever, and you can have that interaction. But when you get face to face, you don't have the skills to say, just to be calm. It's difficult.
Anybody who's been, to like an actual restaurant or whatever in the last, 5 years, I mean, we all know that our social skills, and especially in younger people, are just diminishing. They're just not there because of technology, because of all those things you just listed. And I know we grew up in a different time. We had different motivations. You know what I mean? Like, the 80s hair bands, like, it was all about rocking out, doing drugs, and getting pussy. And so, like, those were our idols, right? I mean, that was like, that was the ultimate form of masculinity, which is weird to say because they had like giant, women's hair. But these guys, we heard the stories about all the NBA players and all the women they were getting, and all the sports guys and the rock stars and the actors, and how much tail they were pulling. And so it was like, well, I know I'm not going to be that, but in my own little circle, let's see how much tail I can pull, how many women I can get to talk to me. I mean, that was even like a big goal, just to like be like, hey, I got her number. We all remember Goodwill Hunting. You like apples? Well, I got her number.
Like them apples.
How do you like them apples? Right. And in my opinion, and again, I know who I am. I know what generation I'm from. So this might sound outdated, but I'm going to say it because it's how I feel.
Yeah.
But that's the world we grew up in. Yeah. And that was how we learned social skills and how to be more than we were, that we wanted to meet women, period.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a social status thing within our male groups. It was also a social status thing within, the whole meme where the two ladies are whispering to each other like, wow, he fucking ate me out great. It was all part of how you increased your social standing in the world.
Right.
And that's gone.
Yep.
And so great point that you made. I just want to acknowledge, great point, that there are very different people in this world, that even just within your own two sons, how different they are, and how one is willing to engage with anybody and everybody, and the other is like, I'm good just doing me. And so he might need a little bit of a jump start. And I just don't know if this is a healthy jump start, or if this is one, that you'd like look back and be like, yeah, I had a false sense of security because this whore fucked me and it was really easy. Like, I don't know what the right answer is. We got to do something, because birth rates are going way down because people aren't talking to each other, and guys don't know how to lay down their jacket over a puddle and let a lady cross the street. And we've lost something, and we need to get it back. And I don't know how to do it. And I don't know, maybe this gal's onto something, or maybe she's just making a fucking fortune, giving these guys the ride of their life. I don't know.
Joe brings up a really good point. There's no way a guy could do this. There's no way a guy could.
I brought up that point. Like, where do I sign up to deflower young virgins?
Yeah,
like,
no, they're.
I want that job. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there's no way that could happen. Absolutely, yeah. No, you're fucked. Sorry.
I'll only go in halfway. I promise. Like, but just like, give me the opportunity. I'll be gentle. I will give you the night of your life. But again, the problem is not every guy is going to be like that. Right. And so you get this false sense of what the encounter is supposed to be like. Yeah.
Oh, if again, simple. I mean, it's the New York Post. The New York Post is good for a couple of things. Laughing the fuck out of things.
Yeah.
Knowing where the narratives are shifting, it's kind of a flag, because it is such a ridiculous point for news. But this was really unique, and I thought that was a really, really interesting, poignant discussion, because this is a thing. This is a very real thing in our community, in as we get more introverted, all of us, this is a thing. This is a thing, and I think I think it goes back to, like you were saying too. It impacts the birth rate a lot, and God, I mean, fucking is fun. Sex, being with somebody you love is, or like, or just you just like man, I jam with her. She's awesome. Might not even want to spend my rest of my life with her, but man, that's a good time. And a lot of these folks don't get that, and that's scary.
Yeah, it is, and I mean, it's like it's fun for both parties if if you're doing it right. And I guess that's been lost somewhere. It's like I think people think it's just as fun to pleasure yourself as it is to be with someone and have that intimate relationship and pleasure someone else also. Well, and that's just not true. And
I'm not going to disappoint myself.
Well, right. And that's it. And I'm not going to disappoint the other person.
Right. I'm not losing anything. I have no skin in the game other than what's in my hand. So it's cool. It's totally fine.
Yeah. Well, an interesting conversation, and I don't think we're gonna solve it on this show. No. WIDA is here for the protection of animals, not for the sex life of people.
That's very, very, very true.
Right? I mean, WIDA is here for the animals, and definitely for the carousel animals. God, those poor bastards. But I do think it's a healthy conversation to be having, because there's still those of us who remember what it's like to be intimate with another human being, and if everybody just stops for a minute and gets really like honest with themselves, I think we all want that connection.
No, absolutely.
And we just don't have it right now, and I don't know. I wish we could get it back.
You ready for final thoughts?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a few stories we didn't get to, but that's okay. We had some cold spells in parts of the world that haven't seen it in like hundreds of years. Ice in the Adriatic Sea.
California's underwater.
California, yeah, they got hit, and like I said they would, but I also said it would be property damage, but not a lot of loss of life.
Nope. You called it.
I really liked, you know what? Can we quickly hit on because this would be fun to put out on Twitter, but can we hit on the teacher using Assassin's Creed to teach them history? I really liked this story, kind of for the same reasons for the horror story. Not horror. That's a bad word. God damn it. Bad Fits. The sex worker story that we just had. This one's kind of a different take on a way to educate our young people. And not sexually. This time is with actual history. So, yeah, let's cover this one really quick, and then we can do closing thoughts.
New York Post. Talk about an A for effort. A middle school teacher is being praised online for using a widely popular historical fiction video game to teach ancient Greek history in an engaging and immersive way. Educator and TikTok sensation Mr. Mahathi, who has shared many tween-friendly videos on his feed, posted a clip of himself playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey in front of his students. The purpose was to break down the Battle of Thermopylae, a key conflict of the Greco-Persian War in 480 BC, which is made re-famous by Gerard Butler, a.k.a. King Leonidas,
300,
and his band of bloodthirsty Spartans in the film 300. Phenomenal movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Showing a bird's eye view of the battlefield in his video, seen more than 2 million times, Mr. Mahathi, explained where the Greek forces were stationed and how they planned to stifle King Xerxes' massive Persian army. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, A for creativity, right? I mean, because you're using something the kids can attach to, which is gaming. I mean, even if there were some kids in there, some who have never gamed, like that's just not their thing. it's still technology that you're using, and it's not, and it's done in a way. I mean, the view, because if you watch the video, he does take a bird's eye view of the entire battlefield. You can't get that view anywhere else than in make believe, right? You can't. That's the only way you could get it is through this, artist's rendition, whatever. And so just what a cool way to get the students to visualize and to like make believe that they were there. And then also on top of it, it's, a popular video game that if you say Assassin's Creed, even if you've never played it, you're aware that it's a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what it is. And so I'd say A for creativity, A for effort. B on historical accuracy. I'm not sure it was probably 100% accurate, but enough so that he could at least illustrate the point.
Yeah.
And how the Greeks were able to repel so many soldiers, to make them pay so heavily that they retreated. So yeah, I mean, I think on the one hand, you do have the film 300 that if you could show that in a high school classroom, that would be a great way to talk about it, even though it's, hugely theatricalized and it's amazing fight scenes and everything else. It probably wasn't quite that glorious, but that would be a great way to teach history. But another way would be to do this. And I don't know. I'm for it. If my kid was in that class, it'd be like, hey, dude, good job. Nice job. Like that really made an impact on my kid. And you got it through to him that history is a real thing, but it can also be really fun. So that's my thoughts on it.
Part of teaching is connecting with the learner, and that's probably the biggest thing, because once you connect with them, then you can go ahead and you can teach. You can pipe the knowledge in, and this is one of those cases where you need to be able to connect with the learner, and there isn't really, I don't think, a better way of doing that. You totally could have gone back and said, well, I'm going to go ahead and show this movie in class. It's not. I wouldn't. I don't think it's a movie to watch in class. You could show snippets of it for sure, right? You could totally do something along those lines. But you're connecting with it because all those kids can go out there and they might have a Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They go, oh yeah, I totally remember that. Yeah, I got now. I understand the relevance of it. Or you're connecting that with, this is actually something historic. And it was a big enough deal that they put it into a video game. So while it might not be totally on target, it's Assassin's Creed. It still captivates, and it still opens up the door for you to go ahead and be able to teach a concept that a lot of kids nowadays, nobody's going to talk about this. But as soon as you connect something that they like with this, it's a great teaching tool. I like that he did it. That was a really cool way to go.
I agree. Do you remember? Well, I know you remember because it's one of the things that you and I have talked about for the decades that we've known each other. But McShae and I had we were both going to the same community college, and we had a history of Western civilization class.
Mr. Winters.
Mr. Winters. Yeah, exactly. We both remember the dude's name. He had this weird fucking vibe to him. He was like. You could tell the dude had seen some things, like not like war, but just, he'd lived a lot of life.
Yeah. He did some drugs. He's been in some weird places.
Yeah. He'd been in a bar fight or two, probably. Definitely dropped acid. But he taught history in a way that he would be like, okay, here's the historical facts. But, Queen Elizabeth would use a technique called flaying, and he went into detail as to what flaying is. And up to that point in my very short life, I had never even thought about the concept of what flaying would be. And he went into the sort of detail that nowadays would probably get him fired. But back then we were just like, holy shit, like people actually did that to each other. And it brought the entire scene, the entire feeling of the time to life.
Oh, yeah.
It made it real for me. It made it that if you were caught dissenting against the throne, that one of the options was to have your skin peeled from you layer by layer. And the art was to see how thin of layers you could peel each time. That was the fucking art. And then you eventually died of infection weeks later. And I remember walking out of that class. You and I were like, "What the fuck did we just listen to?" But holy shit, I will never. I mean, we're still talking about it. I'm 40 fucking 9 almost, and we're still talking.
We passed that test,
dude. With an A. We both studied for that together, and we passed it with an A.
We crushed that class. That class was a fantastic. There are some teachers that just have a knack of just they know, they just get it. They just know. Then you've got other teachers that have a fucking agenda, and it's just fucking, and it's frustrating. So hats off to the ones that get it.
Yep, agreed. And that just shows that, like, you can make teaching come alive and be real, but you can also use it for your agenda and to influence really malleable minds. And so, like, use your power for good. Don't fucking corrupt people. Like,
understand that you have power, first of all, and then don't fuck it up.
Right. So anyway, yeah, good stuff. All right. Are we ready for final thoughts? I think we're ready for final thoughts.
Let's do it.
One of my final thoughts before we even start it is
wait. You ready?
No, this beer's great. No, I'm just gonna say this beer was amazing. So now we can play the music.
Whiskey Hill's final thoughts.
Both these beers were fucking amazing.
Yes.
God,
agreed. That's all I wanted.
I'm seriously. I'm gonna Venmo some money, and you guys are gonna have to pick us up some, because like I need to share this with some folks. I've never had a smoked beer like this.
Dude, that's so funny you say that. I was just thinking, like, I have a couple of buddies here who would love this beer.
This is
like they're just starting to get into craft beer, and this would be such an amazing beer to, like, open their palate up to, like, hey, this is
that's
gonna
rock
fucking
their world.
That's
gonna rock their fucking world, because this First of all, you've got the coconut, like the dessert, the decadent version of this. I have the frontal assault. This is smoked meat, smoked kielbasa. This is fucking 12.5% in your face. Enjoy the fucking journey, and it might be a perfect imperial stout on top of all the extra stuff that it's doing. So because you have the complexities of it, you have to get the imperial stout right first of all, and you have to contend with the ABV and the burn from the alcohol and the booziness. But then you've got this smoke component that just makes it so complex. And if you don't execute it right, this could have been an absolute shit show. But it might be the perfect beer. This might be the perfect
what
beer.
Brings it home, is that smoked. It's what makes it from, like, a really good beer to fucking fantastic, is you get that complexity. And it also makes it so that you can't just guzzle the thing, right? You have to, like, you're like, whoa, I gotta taste this. I gotta pace myself.
But I wanted to shotgun the shit out of this one because I wanted more.
Well, I did too, but at the same time, you're like, wait, I need to savor this. So they have the regular one, which is what you have.
Yeah.
They have the coconut, which I have. Then there's a sweet potato pie one and a chocolate pie. So, like, I want the full smorgasbord. All right, that's a German word for saying, give me fucking all of it.
Yeah.
I want every bit of it.
Yeah, I'm fucking blown away. This might be one of the best beers I've ever had. And I've had some great fucking beers, and I've spent some stupid money on beers. This might be one of the best beers I've ever had. No, it's the base for them. That's
yeah.
This is it tops Yeti, it tops Epic.
Yeah, no, those feel way more boozy than this does. And again, I think it's that smoke that they bring in. It just it doesn't have that. This is almost a 15% beer, and it does not. There's no booze to it. I mean,
no,
there's some, but not like you do with a Yeti.
I definitely have some booze, but it's not it's not hot though. I wouldn't call it hot.
Nope, not at all.
And it's this fucking thing is mouthwatering too, Fitz.
Yeah,
like the really back of my mouth is well lubricated.
That's what she
Sorry,
said.
I had to throw
Hey,
that in there.
so no, that's
What a beer.
Thank
you. That's fantastic.
I really didn't get sexual tonight, but I probably should have because this beer is fucking sexy.
No, but there are some beers though that are going to transcend that, and not even that. It's more. It is an experience that's deeper than the sex. I think that's my takeaway from this. I totally felt like I could have gone there, but no.
This feels more. You're right. This feels more of like a religious experience, and not
I'm telling you, the fucking kielbasa rush that I got, which is weird. I know that's fucking weird to say.
No, dude, it just came out of you. Like that was the first thing.
And,
it was the first words out of your mouth. You were like, "Oh, dude, smoked kielbasa." I'm like, what?
Oh, okay, yeah, it didn't make any sense, but that's what fucking hit me right up front.
No,
and that was badass.
But it does. It does. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
All right. So final thoughts for the actual news. Like besides our, or beergasm we have going on over here. Final thoughts for the news. What do you got? What's your takeaway?
Biden's done. I'm fully committed. He's going to be done in the next 2 months. I think we're going to get. It's not going to go 25th Amendment. That's not going to happen. I think he's going to go ahead and he's going to step out. There's going to be some kind of random medical emergency. They're going to let him go ahead and bail out gradually, gracefully, and that's going to be
a hero. He'll be a hero.
Yeah.
They can't disgrace him at this point, so he'll be a hero.
No, not at all. The thing that bothers me the most is that Marble Mouth, Kamala, is going to end up taking over. So I'm a little weird. I'm a little worried about what's going to happen there because she's going to have to take over. And we're just gonna have to see where it goes from that point. But man, the content is gonna be phenomenal for the next 3 or 4 months.
Oh God, the memes are gonna be off the fucking chain. And the thing about Kamala too is I will say she is programmable. I mean, she goes off script. She has the dumb fucking creepy, Wicked Witch of the West laugh, but she's programmable. I mean, and what I mean by that is in the sense that if you tell her to fucking go up there and say that Russians are bad, Israelis are good, and we need to, open up the border. That's the message she'll stick to. It'll be a winding path. You won't know how she got there, but she'll get there.
Oh yeah, she'll deliver the message,
right?
And she'll giggle the whole time, and she'll be high as fuck while she's doing it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. She'll stay on message, and so I think in some ways she's almost like the ultimate, like perfect dream for the DNC. Like she'll stay on message, she won't deviate, and when they tell her to shut the fuck up and get off camera, she will. Like she won't just meander and try and shake hands with ghosts like Biden is. But they'll and I agree with you. They'll exit him as a hero. It won't be that he gets impeached. It'll be that he for the betterment of the country, he realized he can't do the job anymore. So what a hero. Let's give him a round of applause while he lays down in his coffin and goes to sleep. And that'll be the end of it. So I agree with you on that. I think my other takeaway was that, on the flip side of that coin, the message that Tucker Carlson allowed Putin to put out, and I'll say it that way because that's how I think it probably went down.
Yep.
It was scripted. He had a point to make, several points to make, and he made them. He did take over that interview. He did assert himself as the alpha. And to me, as an average American citizen, I'm looking back going, holy shit, Russia needs to be dealt with, or at least respected, because they have a leader who knows what the fuck is going on, and we don't. And so it sort of elevated them on a world stage in a way that nothing else could have. Because, I mean, like him or not, Tucker Carlson has his finger on the pulse of America, most of the West, and half of the East. So a lot of people saw that interview, and more and more and more are going to see it. And so I feel like it was a controlled message, but the message was heard loud and clear. And so who knows what's going to happen in the next few months, but Tucker Carlson Joe Rogan, these people that are doing independent things, and I'll even include
Whiskey Hill.
Whiskey Hell in that conversation, and not because of the outreach we have, but just because we're one of those people that are consistently every week showing up and giving an alternative narrative to what the MSM is doing. And so, as a final thought, I will say that I'm glad to be a part of the agents of change, and not a part of the agents of we need to sit in this mud and shit pile because it's where we've always been. I'm proud to be that, and I will keep showing up every week because of that. Even on the weeks that are tough, where I'm tired and I don't know if I got it in me, I'm gonna keep showing up because of that, because it's worth it. And I just want to be on the right side of this story. So that's my final thought.
If you want to follow us, it's at whiskey_hell on X. whiskeyhellpod.com is the website. Patrons, this is your warning. You are on the clock. From here on out, we will have all of our news stories dropped into the patrons chat. You should start thinking about what you want to bring to the table next Saturday. Episode 150 is going to drop. We are incredibly excited to have you on board. It is going to be Whiskey Hell. It's going to have your opinions. You guys get to join in, and we'll see what happens with the next 150 episodes based on this. So we are super jacked for it. Just be ready, because you guys have seen the doc that we drop, and you guys are going to be dropping just as much info, commentary, stories. When you see it, drop it into the Whiskey Hell Insiders chat. Enjoy yourselves. We're on the clock. Next episode records next Saturday. I'm Steve McShae.
And I'm Fitz. We love every one of you.
Think critically.
Act accordingly.
We'll talk to you soon.